A very lovely weekend for you, the Christians. We'll now take you into the week's stories that made headlines within the week. And to start off, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni this week challenged African youth to embrace prosperity improvement initiatives through wealth creation for economic transformation of the continent. He was speaking during the official opening of the third African peer review mechanism held at Speak Resort Munyonyo in Kampala.
The other path would give her the tools to unleash her full potential.
It was a call for action, as opposed to expression of grief, as youth across the continent of Africa met in Kampala, Uganda's capital city. They came together during the third African Peer Review Mechanism Youth Conference. The event has brought together youth and Pan-Africanists.
It is an important part of our effort as young people and as a continent to tackle instability, conflict, corruption, and maladministration.
We continue to advocate that young people must be seen, they must be heard and included in every process that concerns their future and particularly their needs.
In agreement with these youth were some diplomats who described the future of the world as an obligation of the youth.
Youth have a major role to play. They are eager to learn and to help our societies to find innovative solutions to the many challenges and problems that we face.
Mainstreaming of youth in Africa's democracy and good governance is an area that we take seriously at the APRM because of our mandate in the African Union family.
The message of the day rotated around the relevance of youth in both national and international development.
The statistics in Africa speak volumes about the need to reposition the youth and put them at the center stage of the development agenda.
There's need to empower the youth to participate in decision making through balanced investments in social and economic policies.
Upon arrival, President Yoweri Museveni carried a similar message, challenging youth to embrace wealth creation programs.
In addition to biology, you need ideology. And ideology, number one, our experience is that number one, patriotism. Love each of your countries. Don't allow opportunists to disturb, to divide your countries along sectarian lines. Secondly, love Africa, Pan-Africanism. Thirdly, you must change. You must become modern. Your families must become modern. You cannot go on with the pre-capitalist mode of life. You must build a middle class and a skilled working class. That's why we talk of socio-economic transformation.
Museveni decried pockets of tribalism in Africa, which he says compromises the continent's quest for market integration.
Because once the market is integrated, if I produce a good here in Uganda or a service, and it is consumed by anybody who wants to do so within the population of Africa now, which is now 1.6 billion a year, there's no way you can fail to grow, the business to grow, and by the business growing, you employ more people, you pay more taxes. Taxes are used to solve other problems in the country. Then we shall say that these are youth who know what they are doing.
To achieve this, it will require strategic security, a message that Museveni emphasized to the African youth.
Because now Africa is the center of chaos now, today. What is happening in Mali, Burkina Faso, even Nigeria, Niger, sometimes Cameroon, some parts of Chad, Central African Republic, Somalia, Congo, DRC, all chaos. So how do we create strategic security? This is the second mission. For everybody, but starting with the youth, because you are the ones who have got longer to stay here on earth before you go to either heaven or hell, whichever.
The 5-day symposium is being held under the theme African Union at 20, repositioning the youth agenda for a transformative continent. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now, away from that, Prime Minister Robina Nabbanja has this weekend been in Mbale municipality to consult with technocrats on how to address Mount Elgon forest encroachment. Nabbanja explained that findings from the consultations will be presented before Cabinet for an informed decision to have the matter of encroachment settled.
Encroachment of Mount Elgon forest catchment area is not a recent challenge. It dates as far back as the 1930s, with sometimes temporary solutions found and others ending up in court. A directive from the head of state to have this matter resolved has prompted the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Robina Nabbanja, to swing into action. Her aerial tour of the affected areas was followed by a special meeting at Mbale Resort Hotel in Mbale City.
So I saw some rivers had dried up. Because here in the map, you would really see that this is a river. But they were dry, there was no water. And that means that we have tampered with the ecosystem.
Views were expressed, mostly divergent, as ministers and technical staff officers disagreed to some extent.
It is a matter of 1938. I do not know whether the commissioner has told you all lands who retraced to produce this map here.
People are really on top of the cliff. There is a rock and they are there. And one wonders if one made a mistake at night, isn't it? And got out of the house and made a short stroll. I don't know whether we will not find that person down the cliff. So people can really be daring.
I want to assure members who are here that today and the subsequent days that are coming, the issues that are affecting our people in this region will be resolved.
Mount Elgon and its biodiversity is a critical natural resource benefiting two countries of Uganda and Kenya. It is a source of water, food and medicinal plants, all of which require conservation.
It's dangerous for people to be upstairs there. I saw children up there. And therefore, those ones we shall remove.
This quest for a lasting remedy comes at a time when the country is facing challenges of encroachment on other ecosystems, including swamps, lake shores, and river banks.
There are those projects that we want to bring that will depend on irrigation. If all our rivers dry up, we are done. This rain we are proud of now will go.
Nabbanja has consequently issued some directives to the Ministers of Environment and Tourism as a permanent remedy is sought.
Please provide free seedlings to your people now. I am now giving a directive. Give your people free seedlings now. not tomorrow.
The Mount Elgon forest catchment areas are located in the districts of Namisinwa, Bududa, Kwen, Kapchorwa, Mbale and Sironko.
Very beautiful shots of Mount Elgon catchment areas. Now, art teachers this week also returned to class following an announcement by the Ugandan Teachers Union, UNATU, that it has suspended its industrial action over the issue of salary increment. The General Secretary UNATU, Baguma Philbert, explained that they suspended their sit-down strike to continue negotiating with government on fulfilling their 2018 collective bargaining agreement. These are the details.
Teachers in government schools are back to class. It follows the suspension of an industrial action after art teachers demanded government to fulfill the 2018 collective bargaining agreement. The teachers have not been teaching for almost 3 weeks. Unlike other schools like Chitante Hill and Mengo Senior Secondary School, UBC engaged on this issue in vain. Chitante Primary School social studies teacher Wamboka Vincent said about 66 teachers have resumed teaching.
But as we talk, and I've moved here around, the staff is back. Taught 3 lessons in 1. We have covered how many lessons? I started as early as 7. By 9:20 my lesson ends, I had covered that. So even the other colleagues did the same.
However, because of the stress and psychological torture teachers have gone through, it will take them some time to settle down.
Of course, some have gone back today. Others will continue to move. And the teaching will take some time to be the real teaching because the environment is still hostile.
The engagements teachers had with the president left them with no option but to suspend the industrial action and continue negotiations with government on fulfilling their collective bargain agreement.
So he was also having a slogan, no class, no talks. We had to look at both sides, either to remain on industrial action and close the gates of discussions with the president, or to resume teaching and then continue with the discussions.
UNATU says government is responsible to pay for the lost time of the learners in the last 3 weeks of their industrial action because it failed to act to its promise.
And therefore nobody should blame the teachers for the lost time. It is the responsibility of government because it took decision without looking at the consequences.
The leadership of UNATU emphasizes that although their industrial action is not based on government increasing salaries of science teachers, but collective bargain agreement that is expiring this financial year, the classroom situation of having teachers highly motivated and others highly demotivated is not good. This want government to immediately implement the collective bargain agreement, which stated a teacher in primary school gets 1.3 million shillings, a diploma holder teaching sciences in secondary gets 3 million, diploma teaching arts gets 2.7 million, while the graduates with bachelors teaching arts gets 4.5 million and one of sciences 4.8 million shillings. I'm Nafka Farida and Stephen Kalisia in Kampala.
In other news, 2 teachers of Lubiri High School were this week charged with failure to prevent a felony committed by students in a bus. The students, whose videos went viral via social media platforms, suffer suspension. Now, this follows a Police Directorate of Investigations report on the act of indecent practice exhibited by the students of Lubiri High School in a bus to attend an agricultural trip in Jinja early last month.
The videos of Lubiri High School students which showed their indecent behavior while in a bus to Jinja agricultural trip has landed both students and teachers in trouble. Police Directorate of Criminal Investigations, guided by the DPP, have unpacked the events as they unfolded to establish that there was lack of proper supervision by the teachers of Lubidi High School during the students' field trip.
It was not appropriate for the school to assign only 2 teachers who failed to properly supervise the bus activities.
Teachers Joseph Nsubga and Lydia Nabaka, who were responsible to oversee the world journey, have been held liable and charged with the neglect to prevent a felony.
Teachers charged with the duty of superintending students in school must exercise reasonable supervision over them. It is against this background that the 2 teachers, namely Mr. Joseph Nsubga and Miss Nabaka Lydia, are being charged with neglect to prevent a felony, contrary to Section 389 of the Penal Code Act.
Students appeared in the video in rhetoric dance, suspended to act as a lesson to other students in school.
We are recommending to the school management the immediate suspension of students who participated in the indecent behavior and those who recorded and posted the videos on social media.
Security have established that bus capacity is 67 passengers, but that day it had 73, which contravenes traffic rules.
The bus carried 73 students, which was more than the seating capacity of 67 students. Although the driver did not solicit the number of students, which is excusable,
the bus appeared in these videos belonged to Midland High School, and it was acknowledged that Lubidi High School hired it for the purpose of transporting students for that trip. Abdul Nasser Lubwama, UBC News.
In other news, Uganda Bureau of Statistics has come out to defend its statement as it states that Uganda is a middle-income country. This follows the World Bank statement about Uganda's financial status. Let's take a look at these details.
Uganda Bureau of Statistics has affirmed Uganda's eligibility as a middle-income status. The affirmation comes after President Yoweri Museveni's State of the Nation address announced Uganda's GDP per capita for financial year 2021-2022 had risen to $1,046, and thus the country had crossed the threshold for the lower middle income status. However, later on, the World Bank released its economic update for the year 2020-2021, indicating that Uganda's gross national income per capita was $840 and had not yet crossed the threshold for a middle income status. In a meeting held between the World Bank and UBC, it was evident that the World Bank was using data based on the financial year 2020-2021, while the government of Uganda was looking at the recent statistics of 2021-2022.
The meeting noted that the differences arose mainly from the following three factors related to the national accounts aggregates, population figures, and the sources of data and reference period used. Estimates for GNI per capita, which is the GDP adjusted for net primary income, released by the World Bank, are consistent with the government of Uganda estimates. The reference periods in the two periods is different. Whereas the report by government of Uganda was based on the financial year 2021-22 official data, the one by the World Bank was based on the financial year 2020-21. So these are two different years.
Variations equally came through as the World Bank was using the UN population projection of Uganda, which is 47.1 million people, while the government's official estimates of the population projection were at 42.4 million people. The two parties have agreed to meet in a month and come out with harmonized population projections. In addition, UBC was tasked to report the country's GDP and aggregate report on the gross national income estimates every middle of the year. The World Bank was further requested to always use up-to-date figures for a particular year in their reports.
Furthermore, members of parliament this week questioned the Uganda People's Defence Forces recruitment exercise, saying that it has been stained by irregularities, including bribery and sectarianism in the matter of national importance. Raised by Tororo woman member of parliament, Sarah Opendi, she alleged that in her constituency, recruits were being ferried from other districts.
A few weeks ago, Uganda People's Defence Force rolled out a countrywide mass recruitment exercise for young and able-bodied men and women. Among the requirements one had to present included a valid national identification card, senior force certificate, recommendation letter, a letter from the LC chairperson from the area of full-time residence or birth, among others. An individual also had to be in good health and above 18 but below 30 years. However, Tororo woman member of parliament Sarah Opendi says recruiting officers have flouted the guidelines of the recruitment exercise. While presenting a matter of national importance during plenary, she told the House that the recruiting officers in Tororo were seen ferrying people from different districts and regions for the exercise.
Tororo was allocated 120 slots, Right Honourable Speaker. And to our surprise, Right Honourable Speaker, very many of the young people were not taken.
It's alleged that the exercise in other districts, according to some MPs, has been based on tribal sentiments. Some recruitment officers have also been faulted for taking bribes from recruits above 30 years and those that do not have qualifications for the exercise.
The local leaders who were present, the RDC, the district officials, requested to verify the purported lists of the people from Tororo. They were not allowed, Right Honourable Speaker.
About people of 30 years and below, yet in the advertisement, they say they want 30 years and below.
Speaker of Parliament Anita Mong has asked the line minister to come out and clarify on the alleged irregularities.
If you want to get a job, must you go through that suffering? And must you say who brought you here? Who is your godparent? Do I need to have a godparent to have a job?
The CDF is here. The deputy CDF is here. Other members are here. So why do they come to Parliament?
This is not the first time UPDF recruitment officers are faulted over irregularities and misconduct.
The thing is happening with the WUA. The same thing happens with the UPDF. It happens with the prisons. Can we have this verified by the local leadership, whether these people come from these areas?
The countrywide recruitment exercise by Uganda People's Defence Force is targeting recruitment of over 10,000 personnel to the local defence unit. Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
The Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Haji Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, this week asked government to enhance salaries of the art teachers like their science counterparts. This was during the Eid al-Duha prayers at Uganda Muslim Supreme Council National Mosque, Old Kampala.
Thousands have flocked to Kampala Mosque for Eid al-Adha prayers as they commemorate the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. The preacher of the day, Sheikh Abdallah Semambo, asked Muslims to slaughter animals, help the needy and continue to do good in these 3 days. The Mufti of Uganda, Haji Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, asked Muslims to take part in the ongoing constitutional review and election process for Muslim leaders, which he says will enhance Muslim unity.
We are in a period where the constitution draft is being reviewed by the structures of the Uganda Muslim Council, and thereafter, inshallah ta'ala, we shall proceed to the general elections. So let's support the program of the review of the constitution, and thereafter let's all engage ourselves, get involved in the general elections so that we form a strong, united Uganda Muslim Council.
Sheikh Mubaje also called upon government to enhance equal salaries for both arts and science teachers, saying this is victimizing the arts teachers instead of treating them equally with their science counterparts.
The problem between the science teachers and the arts teachers that the government has preferred the science teachers to the arts teachers by raising salaries of the arts teachers, science teachers, and then leaving behind those who are teaching arts. It is not the fault of the teachers, it is the fault of the government. So they should correct this gradually. Let them not victimize the innocent teachers who studied arts and have been teaching and have been very active serving their nation. Let them be paid fairly like their counterparts.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
In another related development, Muslims in Mbale and the country at large were this weekend encouraged to strengthen good relationships with their neighbors. While giving his Eid al-Duha sermon at Seka Kali Mosque in Mbale City, Sheikh Sulaiman Lutu Wandera said that Muslims have to emulate Prophet Muhammad as they celebrate Eid al-Duha.
Muslims across the country have this Saturday celebrated Eid al-Duha by prayer and slaughtering animals in fulfillment of their commitment to Allah. In Mbale City, Eid al-Duha prayers have been held at Seka Kali Mosque, with believers being encouraged to strengthen their relationship with their neighbors irrespective of their religions by sharing the little they have.
Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam atukubiriza singo berango bado inako ofumbye mulirano wao muwerezeko onako mnolwaidi bonoma lwokufumba mulirano wao ni wangu badenga sibusiramu muwerezeko.
During Eid sermons, Sheikh Sulaiman Lutu Wandera, the Imam of Masjid Nur, urged men in Islamic faith to fulfill their total responsibilities towards their wives as prescribed by Prophet Muhammad.
Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala bayaliyatu kabilo obuvunaanyizibwa yatugamba nti wa ala al-mawludi lahu rizquhunna wa kiswatuhunna bima'rufin. Abasajja ffe abalina obuvunaanyizibwa okubeera nga bakyala baffe tubaliisa, bakyala baffe tubambaza, bakyala baffe tubajjanjaba, bakyala baffe tubawa security. Ebyo ebigambo Nabbi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yabisibirira abasajja abaali mu Arafa abagenda nayo okukola hijja n'abibagamba era babirenga babiwuliriza.
Bugisu Regional Sheikh Issa Masaba expressed concern over programs that are relayed on different media platforms that have contributed to moral decay of children, hence calling upon parents to raise their children according to their religion.
Ekikulu kakati abaana ba leero tulina kubeera nga tubasomesa nga bakyali bato. Mpozi n'ensonga enkulu ffe ng'abazadde gye tugenze tusiŋŋaana nti embeera eriwo ereetera abaana baffe okubeera nti bayiga ebintu ebiyinza okubalemesa okutya Katonda. Kati nga TV zetugula zetubeera nazo emikutu mingi egimu giraga ebyobuwemu butereevu, ebyo nabyo biyinza okulemesa abaana baffe okuluŋŋamba nga betwandyagadde.
The NRM chairperson, Women's League, Lydia Wanyoto Mutende, donated 7 cows to Mbale City counties that were handed over to Bugisu Regional Kadi Sheikh Issa Masaba by Mbale RCC Ahmada Washaki.
In more news from this week, a 9-year-old Winnie Atim from Alebtong district who recently trekked over 350 kilometers through the scorching sun and rainy nights has had her prayers answered after she was returned to school by Dokolo woman MP Cecilia Atim Ogwal after watching her story on UBC TV. Now, Winnie Atim, who dropped out of school due to the lack of fees, braved the heat of the days and cold of the night on foot up to the Martyrs Shrine in Namugongo to seek for divine intervention through the martyrs. She says that she wants to become the Speaker of Parliament in future and advocate for justice.
Winnie, a team seemingly the youngest pilgrim in the recent Martyrs' Day celebration, first came to light in May when she made an irreversible decision to foot over 350 kilometers from Lira to Namugongo. Her team, who hails from Ajuri County in Aleptong district, had dropped out of school since her grandmother was helpless to pay her fees. She decided to brace all the sunny and rainy days to petition God through the holy matters for direction. Her team's only intention is an answer towards education. Early this year, while admitted at a clinic for malaria treatment, her team watched the glorious Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, addressing Parliament shortly after her election. She was inspired that her only dream is to become nothing less than the next Anita Among, who she describes as smart, soft-spoken and impeccable.
Now, this Winnie, maybe she has looked at Anita Among looking very beautiful and glorious on her seat, and she's saying, I want to be a Speaker of Parliament, putting on those wigs, which the President said is too hot anyway, but she has admired it. She wants to wear it.
Leading from the front, she began the journey with the support of well-wishers. Days later, challenges began cropping in, but she did not give up. Having reached Namugongo, her team's hope was shattered when her role model, the Speaker, awarded the 14-year-old Brian Tresije from Port Poto as the youngest pilgrim. There was no option other than returning home tiresome but continued praying. As she prayed, her namesake Cecilia Timogwal, the Dokolo woman MP, who was equally touched by a team story that aired on UBC TV, started looking for her.
So this girl has accused all of us to heaven, from President Museveni to LC1, that I was born in this world, not by my choice. I want to be something and help my country. So it is a story which should touch each and every member of our community.
Mrs. Ugwal, whose inspiration to help the needy stretches back to her history, says she also made a pronouncement to become a manager at a tender age, and subsequently that dream came to pass. She says working at the cotton ginnery, she saw how men were abusive to the ladies they supervised, and her wish was ever to be at the hem.
I would also want to see men coming to serve me tea, instead of seeing a girl serving these men tea. I wanted things change in favor of the girl child. I didn't want to despise myself, because I knew I could do it. So Winnie has seen that I don't only want to be a member of Parliament, I want to be Speaker. Maybe she wants justice.
To further Winnie's dream, the Iron Lady has fully committed to support her team's education. While receiving Winnie at Bishop Caesar Silly Primary School, the headmistress, Sister Grace Ayo, noted that from her assessment, Winnie possesses qualities that might see her climb mountains.
Education, light and hope. Like other children have been here before us, here in the school here have been excelling. Some have been in Budu and I'm able to maintain them very well. With her presence here, there's no doubt she will make it.
Her team, who is very appreciative to UBC and Mrs. Ugwal, wants to meet the Speaker someday. Winnie's story comes at a time where over 24,000 teenagers in Lango sub-region have fallen prey of teenage pregnancy, a reason why Cecilia Ugwal is pleading with Ugandans to support needy children.
I'm challenging you and anybody who is watching me. You don't have to be a member of Parliament. You don't have to be a councillor. But we should not create a class system where we have children who are untouchable, they are rich, they are walking like the prince and princesses of heaven, as if they are not on earth. And yet there are people who are eating from the dustbin. It is not right.
Eddie Olua,
so
UBC News.
Come to terms with the reality.
Strong words right there from the Member of Parliament. Now, Nita Yu took on the Uganda Transformation Project in 2016, funded by the World Bank in partnership with the Ministry of ICT and other private sector stakeholders. Now, this was in a bid to spur technological advancement in both the public and private sectors, which they celebrate. In this story. In 2016, the government of Uganda secured funding from the International Development Association to finance various activities under the Regional Communications Infrastructure Program. ICT and National Guidance Minister Chris Baryomusi says that though the program has ended, government is now ready to take on the baton by prioritizing investment in the sector.
And indeed, all of us appreciate that we have moved as a country. When you reflect back and look at what was happening in the 80s, early 90s, how we did our work in the government, how we communicated, there has been a lot of progress registered, courtesy of the efforts of all of us here, and we should appreciate the journey so far covered.
The Regional Communications Infrastructure Program was designed to support the government of Uganda with the goal of transforming service delivery. The project's completion now reassures integration of government IT systems, capacity management of IT programs and projects, and improving the policy and regulatory environment.
We extended fiber in 2 areas. There's the backbone, what we know as the highway, the high-speed internet cable, or what is commonly known as the National Backbone Infrastructure / e-government infrastructure. We extended over 842 kilometers of backbone and 764 kilometers of last mile. What's the difference? Backbone is like a highway. This is a high-speed internet cable which is meant to connect districts between districts or district to district regional areas. But last mile is taking the fiber or taking connectivity to the office, to the last user of the service. With that connection, we were able to double the number of users within a year and a half.
At this celebration, various sector stakeholders highlighted what ought to be done to harness Uganda's ICT potential.
I've been able to have 2 of my places on NITA network. Fantastic network. It's fast, it's efficient, but I would also like to say it's slightly expensive. I am hoping that you can cut the rates very soon. Yeah, it's actually expensive. For 2 lodges, I think I was paying about $1,800 a month.
I think in 10 years, the Ministry of Health would benefit significantly if all the government-owned health facilities are connected to the national backbone for reliable internet to really enable us to consume all these digital services that some people think is a dream.
I see a future where artificial intelligence is being leveraged, not in making decisions, but in helping judges make decisions very fast, very effectively, very efficiently. I see data-driven law enforcement, where police officers are able to prepare case files very quickly, very fast, and have them up for prosecution and adjudication. Leveraging the UG Hub, that's the future that I see for justice institutions.
Government has realized the reduction of internet cost over the years to the current $70 per megabyte per month, and plans are underway to reduce it further. Wadulo Arnold, UBC News in Kampala. We'll now take a short commercial break and be back with the weekly business roundup. Let's take a look.
Vimba ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
A World Cup in the desert? The first one in the Middle East. The first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals. Out of this world celebration.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Gold TV, love it.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2 Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenure of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
Did you know it is mandatory to have all births registered and a birth certificate issued? Failure to do so attracts a penalty of imprisonment or a fine. It's proof of age and belonging to parents, protects and provides children with legal rights from crimes and abuse like defilement and child labor. Give your children a good future today and have their birth certificates. For more information, visit the NERA office in your area or visit our website www.nera.go.ug. This message is brought to you by NERA.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, Nga, you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello. Is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Welcome back. You're still watching the weekly roundup news edition of the Lunchtime News. We'll now take you into the world of business. Now, top officials from Tanzania's trade and transport facilitation agencies want Uganda to increase its usage of the port of Dar es Salaam, the country's principal port. While hosting a delegation from Uganda by the State Minister for Transport, Fred Byamukama, Tanzania's officials assured the counterparts of superior services. Dennis Sigwa reports.
The Ugandan delegation from the Ministry of Works and Transport are in Tanzania for a working visit. Uganda is one of the countries in the region that utilize the Central Corridor route that is served by the port of Dar es Salaam and Tanga.
Central Corridor is playing a key role between the two countries. And the two countries, to develop or improve the standards of living of our people, we must handle business with care. We must handle trade with care.
With new developments on the route, such as the introduction of new ships on Lake Victoria, enhanced marketing, collaboration between trade facilitation agencies in the two countries, and infrastructure improvement, increased cargo traffic from and to Tanzania is being experienced. However, the Central Corridor wants more.
So I want a part of your cake. You have a big cake. Yeah, please. So, Honorable Minister, we are doing our best here in Tanzania in the Central Corridor route to improve our infrastructures. Is now as our leaders to advocate to us as Central Corridor, to our brothers and the sisters of Uganda.
With yesterday's signing of a multi-billion-dollar contract for the extension of the construction works of the Dar es Salaam to Mwanza standard gauge railway line, Tanzania means business.
We are coming to Mwanza because of Uganda. That's our main focus. And our thinking with our colleague TPA is to have a big dry port in Mwanza. That's fair. But really, we are looking forward to, to have a dry port in Port Belly and Jinja.
When it goes to Mwanza, we as Ugandans, we feel very happy because when it reaches Mwanza, we shall put our cargo on water. Then the business of the two countries will move on well.
The financial support towards the rehabilitation of 20 Uganda Railways wagons by the Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency, CCTTFA, is a major commitment towards growing trade.
This money they are giving the URC is grants from the corridor to facilitate, to ensure there is improvement and the capacity of the system is improved. So we are going to put in place more tanker wagons for movement of fuel and also flatbed wagons for movement of containers.
Tanzania continues to make deliberate strides towards establishing itself as a regional business hub by developing its ports and the standard gauge railway. Trade brings money into the economy, and the money boosts social and economic development, and that is the main reason why we have the delegation from Uganda here in Tanzania. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Dar es Salaam.
Well, thank you, Dennis. Now, in other news, Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority this week said it has saved about 19 trillion shillings in the pension fund for the last 10 years from the 5 trillion it started with. The Minister for East African Affairs, Rebecca Kadaga, urged the regulatory authority to renovate projects and activities that will keep citizens active. She was officiating the inaugural annual pension sector symposium of UBRA at Serena Hotel in Kampala.
Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority has for the last 10 years boosted licensing of 65 retirement benefit schemes, reducing unemployment expenditures and introducing risk-based supervision systems.
We continue to provide a regulatory and legal framework through UBRA so as to smoothly grow and guide this sector. The Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority should innovate projects, activities that keep the retired citizens active, as also enhancing their life expectancy and to enjoy a comfortable life.
However, although members of retirement benefit schemes want mortgage and loan services, the law on pensions does not allow it.
Recently, in May, we issued regulations for the assignment of retirement benefits for mortgages and loan regulations, allowing members to assign up to 50% of their savings to mortgage and housing loans. This will help the saving population to own a house before retirement.
Issues of policy, regulation, and what government needs to do to ensure that the policy framework supports the issue of saving, the issue of expansion.
The Benefits Regulatory Authority has saved about 19 trillion shillings, with 17 trillion of this being from National Social Security Fund. Managers of schemes want UBRA to come up with new products and solutions that will enable their members save for other problems apart from retirement.
I'd like to advise UBRA to put in place measures and things to encourage the market to come up with innovation to cover all our people in Uganda.
Long-term saving is inherently uncertain and challenging. However, UBRA has been advised to learn from experience of other retirement supervisors.
Vision has the advantage of maximising the use of resources, increasing the likelihood of identifying significant problems before they arise, and encouraging retirement funds to improve their own risk management.
According to experts in micro-pension, 90% of workers in Uganda are in the formal sector and not saving for old age. These recommend for digital micro-pension system.
Use secure APIs to leverage and integrate this ecosystem to provide all Ugandan citizens a very easy, simple, single window way of being able to set up a pension account in under 2 minutes using their mobiles from wherever they are in the country. It is possible then for people to set up pension accounts and then to use digital wallets, Airtel Money or M-Pesa or whatever they want to be able to regularly put money into their pension accounts without any challenges.
Going forward, UBRA emphasizes data integrity to make best decisions and focused on the best outcome of members of retirement through research. I'm Navka Farida and Robert Katamba.
Now, renowned academician and researcher Frederick Etiang this week launched the Sukuma Business Sustainability Model, a research product that aims to enable small, micro, medium and large-scale businesses thrive through hard economic times. I had a chance to interact with him. The launch of the business model comes in the wake of various global economic disruptions brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, the war in Ukraine and scarcity of raw materials to produce essential commodities, which is causing inflation.
How do you survive in the existence of an economic crisis like the current fuel crisis? And we are saying this is not the last economic crisis. We shall have several other crises. These could be internally generated or could be externally generated.
Frederick Etiang's model complements existing business models by enabling reduced operational costs while setting competitive pricing.
Just take an example of a devaluation. We are saying when the currency or when the local currency loses value compared to a foreign currency like a US dollar, traders who are importing will part with a lot of local units of the local currency to get a single unit of the international currency. And as a result, this still increases the cost of operating a business. Then we also looked at several other factors like speculation. When business players speculate, they will hold because they expect to get higher profits in the short and near future.
When both the public and private sector and development partners spur the adoption of this model, enterprises will realize resilience and sustainability.
What is embedded in the Sukuma model is able to let the country move through the crisis in a way that leaves us comfortable even if things are hard.
Why does everything external actually have serious implication in Africa? This only shows that we are not planning. We are not planning. Don't let us run away from that. Our government, our politicians are actually not prepared. Because if they are prepared, we won't be hit the way we are hit.
Uganda's economy, like the rest of the world, is private sector-led, where the private sector contributes most of the taxes collected by governments all over the world. The Sukuma Business Sustainability Model presents itself as a tool for planning and a basis for a more precise projection of revenue collection. Wadulo Arnold, UBC News. In other news, a majority of Ugandan women don't have access to banking services, according to a recent finding by the International Finance Corporation. About 650,000 out of 10 million adult women in Uganda have no access to banking services and therefore are not bankable.
Stanbic Bank Uganda, in partnership with International Finance Corporation, has equipped over 5,000 selected women from across the country with financial literacy skills. During a study undertaken by International Finance Corporation of the about 10 million adult women in Uganda, only 646,000 have bank accounts, which are 6%. This was disclosed during financial literacy skills training for Kampala business women recently held at Hotel Africana, Kampala.
6% of the adult women in 2020 that were banked. So that brought out the need to bring out women and make sure they're part of the financial inclusion.
Under a product codenamed Stanbic for Her, the manager women banking at Stanbic Bank Goretti Serunkoma Lukwago, former Mayor Kampala Sarah Nkonge Mwonge, among others, witnessed the event where women were trained in customer care, business branding and attitude towards clients.
Kwatako kulaba nti n'ekirooto kye kituukiriza fe kye tumuwa kwe kumuyamba naba ng'asobola okutekinga step towards her dream kijja kutuyamba naffe okusobola okutumbula ensi yaffe kubanga ffe ng'aba Stanbic Bank tulina papasi yaffe egamba Uganda is our home, we drive her growth.
Stanbic Bank has also offered attractive interest rates of 15.5% on loans for women, free account opening, business insurance and free ATM withdrawals for the initial 4 times.
Stanbic Bank was my first bank when I became the mayor of Kampala in 1998. They said you need a bank that will, portray your picture as a mayor. And this was Stanbic Bank.
At least 5,000 women from Gulu, Mbale, Mbarara, Fort Portal and Kampala have reportedly benefited from the Stanbic for Her training aimed at realizing their dreams through performing their business professionally.
At the end of the month, Antogenda Musasula. Nolabanga business alikononera. Abana bamu bali rude. Ekyo kituleta ku customer wabeera king ne queen wo. Ti buli muntu go employinga. At least mu training, more skills zomainti zigenda kuyamba mu business.
So when we decided to look at the woman, we said which woman will benefit from Stanbic for Her. So we looked.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
More from this week on the international scene. Former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Japan's longest-serving leader, died on the Friday hours after he was shot while campaigning for a parliamentary election, shocking a country in which political violence is rare and guns are tightly controlled. A man opened fire at Abe, who was 67 years, from behind with an apparently homemade gun as he spoke at a drug traffic island in the western city of Nara, Japanese media reported. It was the first assassination of a sitting former Japanese premier since the days of pre-war militarism in the 1930s. The hospital that tried to save him said that he died at 5:03 p.m., about 5.5 hours after he was shot. A doctor said Abe had bled to death from 2 deep wounds, one on the right side of his neck. He had no vital signs when he was brought in. Speaking before Abe's death was announced, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida condemned the shooting in the strongest terms, while Japanese people and the world leaders expressed shock. Quite unfortunate right there for what's happening in Japan, but also that brings us to the end of our weekly roundup bulletin. Thank you for being a lovely audience. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold, and have yourselves a lovely Sunday.